Former central banker Mark Carney is set to become Canada's new Prime Minister as he wins Liberal Party leadership race, succeeding Justin Trudeau. Syria's interim president Ahmed al-Shara launches probes into the deadly four-day clashes in the country's coastal region. Călin Georgescu supporters clash with police after Romania's electoral committee barred the far-right candidate from running in Sunday's presidential election.
Greenlanders are set to vote in a general election on Tuesday that could determine the island's future amid US President Donald Trump's interest.
Former central banker Mark Carney will become Canada's next Prime Minister after the ruling Liberal Party elected him as their new leader. And in his first speech, he was quick to take a defiant stance against threats from US President Donald Trump.
There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed.
Immediately addressing one of Canadians' most pressing concerns, Carney said his government will continue fighting Trump.
The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada. And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
In first place, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
Carney was the former governor of Canada's central bank and is widely credited with helping orchestrate the country's fast recovery from the 2008 financial crisis. In 2013, he was appointed as governor of the Bank of England, becoming the first non-citizen to do so since its founding. More recently, he served as the United Nations Special Envoy for Climate Change and Finance. Carney will succeed Justin Trudeau as Prime Minister in the coming days after he's sworn in. The Harvard-educated economist with Wall Street experience may not keep the job for long. He's expected to trigger a snap election shortly. Opposition parties could also force one with a no-confidence vote later this month. Syria's interim president Ahmed al-Shara denounced the violence that took place over the past 4 days between security forces and Alawite loyalists of ousted President Bashar al-Assad. He also noted he's forming committees to investigate the fighting that took place in the country's western coastal region.
فإننا قد أعلنا عن تشكيل لجنة لتقصي الحقائق للنظر والتحقيق في أحداث الساحل وتقديم المتورطين إلى العدالة وكشف الحقائق أمام الشعب السوري ليعلم الجميع من المسؤول عن هذه الفتن والمخططات.
Al-Shara also vowed to continue working to eliminate all factions and external forces who are looking to plunge Syria into aggression.
إن سوريا ستظل صامدة ولن نسمح لأي قوى خارجية أو أطراف محلية بأن تجرها إلى الفوضى أو الحرب الأهلية ونحن على العهد ماضون مصممون على المضي قدما نحو المستقبل الذي يليق بشعبنا العظيم.
The violence in coastal Syria claimed the lives of 1,000 people, according to the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. The group says the 4-day wave of clashes were one of the deadliest in over a decade.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has said there was no reason to de-risk Europe's decades-old relationship with the US in the face of current geopolitical differences. Von der Leyen was speaking in a briefing to mark 100 days of her second term as EU Commission President. She insisted that the US remained an ally.
In the face of adversity, the US and Europe have always been stronger together. And yes, there are differences. But we might have different views on some topics, but if you look at the common interests that we have, they always outweigh our differences. So I think it's important that we work together. We will have our differences. We have to sort them out, but we will have to find common avenues.
Von der Leyen said her commission will start to hold regular security meetings to review the various potential threats facing the bloc in areas like defense and energy.
All in and outbound traffic at Germany's Hamburg airport came to a halt in a surprise strike on Sunday. It came a day before trade union Verdi called for nationwide strikes at major German airports. Out of the 144 arrivals and 139 departures originally planned at Hamburg airport, only 10 flights weren't cancelled in the morning.
Ich frage mich, warum so? Weil es hieß ja eigentlich, morgen sollte ein großer Streik sein und warum das jetzt heute ist.
Ein Streik muss wirksam sein und deswegen haben wir hier kurzfristig aufgerufen. Das ist natürlich eine Belastung für die Passagiere, das wissen die Kollegen auch. Sie haben aber dennoch, dem Streikaufruf sind sie dennoch zu 100% gefolgt.
The German union had called on employees in the aviation security sector to strike for a full day on Monday. In a statement, Verdi said the warning strikes are necessary to improve working conditions and achieve better wages.
In the northeastern state of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, far-right party Alternative for Germany is the strongest party. Germany's snap elections, which took place just 2 weeks ago, saw the AfD win their best ever result. The mayor of the small city of Pasewalk, Danny Rodewald, said people in the region feel unheard by the federal government.
Wir sind als kleine Kommunen bei uns in der Region unterfinanziert. Wir müssen besser ausfinanziert werden. Die freiwilligen Leistungen, die müssen wir als Städte immer weiter einschränken. Und das ist natürlich das, was die Bürger sich wünschen. Die wollen sich wohlfühlen in der Stadt. Sie fühlen sich wohl, aber es gibt immer noch Möglichkeiten, das zu verbessern.
Some residents in the east of Germany say they have tried out major parties such as CDU and SPD, but they haven't delivered on bringing living costs down, so they would like to try something new with the AfD.
Da sind natürlich etliche Bürger dabei, die unzufrieden sind, aber nicht unbedingt mit der Stadtpolitik, sondern es war ja nun mal eine Bundeswahl und das kann man nicht 1:1 übertragen auf Pasewalk. Und die Bürger, die jetzt unzufrieden waren, haben sicher auch ihren Grund. Es gibt auch sicherlich Dinge, die nicht so gelaufen sind, wie sie hätten laufen sollen.
Whilst AfD posters have already been taken down, a record 75% of Groß-Lukau voted for AfD. The village of 200 residents is isolated, like many in the region. A local AfD MP says a shortage of skilled workers, high taxes and energy costs, poor infrastructure and bureaucracy is crippling the region.
Sind wir jetzt AfD und die wollen ja das besser haben. Ne? Die wollen ja die Ausländer raus, die hier nicht reingehören. Was haben die hier zu suchen und nehmen nur unsere Gelder? Arbeiten wollen sie nicht. Ne? Die kriegen eine Wohnung, stecken alles in den Hintern. Ne? Und die Großstädten, da sind die Obdachlosen, für die haben sie keine Wohnung. Die schlafen Tag und Nacht draußen in die Kälte. Da macht sie keiner im Kopf. Hauptsache die Ausländer, die kommen. Ne? Und wenn sie jetzt nach Hause geschickt werden, dann kriegen sie noch Taschengeld, 1.000 Euro. Warum?
For now, the pressure will be on for the new German government to revive the economy, especially if they want to bring back voters to the established parties. Liv Stroud, reporting for Euronews.
The Russian army on Sunday said it had retaken parts of the Kursk region, which Kyiv captured in a flash attack in August last year. Russian forces crawled through a 1.4-meter wide unused gas pipeline to attack Ukrainian troops in the strategic town of Sudza. There are more than 50,000 Russian troops in the region, including some from its ally North Korea. Tens of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers are at risk of being encircled, open-source maps of the battlefield show. Ukraine's attack on the Kursk region marked the largest attack on Russian territory since World War II. According to Kyiv, the operation aimed to gain a bargaining chip in future peace talks and to force Russia to divert troops away from its grinding offensive in eastern Ukraine.
Romania's Central Electoral Committee has suspended the application by ultra-nationalist presidential candidate Călin Georgescu to run in the upcoming elections on Sunday. The suspension sparked condemnation and triggered protests in the capital, Bucharest. Georgescu supporters clashed with police in front of the committee's headquarters. One gendarme was injured in the scuffles. The committee examined documents filed by Georgescu but did not approve one related to his campaign funding, noting that it was missing a required signature. The far-right candidate slammed the decision, calling it a direct blow to the heart of democracy before labeling Europe a dictatorship. He also warned that if democracy falls in Romania, the entire democratic world will also suffer a similar fate. The committee defended its decision in a 3-page document and accused Georgescu of not displaying values the presidential office requires. Georgescu, dubbed the TikTok Messiah, came out on top in the first round of Romania's presidential elections in December. The Constitutional Court annulled the vote following the declassifications of intelligence reports showing Russian meddling and influencing voters. Georgescu now has the right to appeal the decision or file a new application, according to Romanian law.
Greenland is preparing to hold general elections on Tuesday, March 11, amid renewed geopolitical tensions over the Arctic island. The election campaign is expected to revolve around the island's independence aspirations and relations with Denmark and the US, and the polls are projected to reshuffle the country's parliament. US President Donald Trump's interest in purchasing the island has spurred Denmark to accelerate efforts to mend the fractured ties. Greenland is the world's biggest island with around 60,000 people. The island, a former colony of Denmark, became a formal territory of the Nordic Kingdom in 1953 and is subject to the Danish constitution. If the island became independent, it could choose to become associated with the US without becoming US territory. When Trump offered to buy Greenland in 2019, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen rejected the idea and called it absurd.